Alright, what do we do with this freaking thing, boys? What the fuck? Like, I can't read this. What is like a online reader speaker? Free text to speech.
Not just one socketed in the item exceptors will not have the chaos spell gem mod available. Esta vez.
Because the global gem modifiers are much more powerful than the previous local modifiers. We've removed the low-level crafting recipe that added +1 to level of socketed fire/cold/lightning/chaos gems. This recipe has been replaced with a similar one that applies added fire/cold/lightning damage to spells and takes the rarity of the item into account to determine the mob's tier.
What?
There's currently no replacement for the chaos recipe. Bones of Vulgar now grants +1 to all Raiz zombie gems and all Raiz specter gems, instead of affecting the maximum minion count, as the additional maximum specters modifier was too much power from a single item.
What?
Now, raising the level of these minion gems to a high enough level will grant additional maximum minions, so these modifiers are still useful. All of the changes will be shown in the patch notes.
Oh, it better be like 21 you get another Spectre, because that would be a good change, but yeah, otherwise, kind of yikes. Damn. Big changes, kind of... I don't know, I feel like it's kind of unwarranted, honestly. Yeah. They probably changed the scaling, but if it's the same scaling as it was before, then like getting a +4 Spectre gem now, which would result in like 4 levels higher Specters, that's like, you know, a huge boost of damage. That's like freaking 40% more damage or some shit. But yeah, it better be 21. But I think it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be 23 or 24 for the additional +1. As for the removal of +1 and no +1 to chaos, it's really weird. Especially that there's no replacement for the chaos recipe. Like, that's a really essential recipe for chaos leveling, like super essential. So I'm very surprised that they didn't introduce a alternative. Like, in general, I think that this is more of a, like, you don't just have a weapon and that's it. They're gonna try and do it so that it's like efficient to have it on a weapon and then on a helmet or on a shield or something like that. But even if you were to do something like that, then +2 supported like socketed gems would be like the only option pretty much for a lot of these builds to scale properly. I don't know, it's interesting because it's very Diablo 2 like. Vibro pointed that out initially when this got announced, and yeah, it's very Diablo 2 like for sure. But if they do a good job with all the scaling, I can't imagine they would nerf it, because this is one of the things that I can't think of a reason why they would nerf it. Then yeah. Alright, traps and mines, boys.
The Shaper/Elder modifiers that granted +1 to traps thrown or mines placed will no longer appear. They provided too much of a damage increase for a single mod. We're also introducing changes to the trap support, which now grants a higher value of trap throw speed and an increase to trap damage as the gem levels.
Ooh. I hope these ones are actually significant. It's like, we fixed the game, guys. I do agree though, like the glove modifiers was pretty frustrating, especially again from an SSF point of view, but even like gearing wise on trade, it was always like, you have to get this, you have to craft this no matter what. But then again, having goals like that, it's pretty alright. Ooh, they talk about damage over time extensively. Burning damage. Uh-oh. Here we go. Here we go. Is this the return, dude? This better be the return of the crit ignites.
Previously, ailments from critical strikes dealt 50% more damage by default, similar to unmodified critical hit damage. The only way to modify this value was to take Perfect Agony. Now, ailments from critical strikes have plus 50% to damage over time multiplier by default, which will be additive with damage over time multipliers from other sources. Now perfect.
Am I reading this right? The only way to modify this value was to take perfect agony. Now elements from critical strikes have plus 50% damage over time multiplier by default, which will be additive with damage over time multipliers from other sources. It's gonna be additive? That's... What? That's gonna be crazy. Are you kidding? Alright, perfect agony. This is the big one though.
Now perfect agony lets critical strike multiplier also apply to ailment damage over time multiplier from critical strikes at 50% of their value.
Yeah, I mean, this is just unnecessary, dude. This is fucking the huge one. The huge big boy, dude. What in the hell? That's crazy. Yeah, ignites are back, man.
Many passives that increased burning damage, poison damage or bleeding damage now have equivalent damage over time multiplier bonuses. They've all been rebalanced as a result. We've also added a new small cluster that gives some potent bonuses to ignites from critical strikes, and another that gives bonuses to all ailments from critical strikes.
Dude, they're overdoing this. Like, what in the fuck? I mean, obviously we don't know the significance until we get the patch notes, but they are overdoing this. Like, what? These are ridiculous. Like the Divine Ire character that I played this league, it's like 3 times as strong now, man, for like 1,000 EHP when it already had 9,000 with barely any investment. I mean, whew, that's nuts.
There are also new item modifiers and crafting modifiers that apply to fire damage over time multiplier or ignite damage over time multiplier, to give burning builds options closer to cold damage over time and chaos damage.
Oh my god, man. Even more? Holy shit, you know what? Maybe if this is true and if it's comparable with chaos damage over time multipliers, then we don't even need the crit stuff. It's already going to be stupid. Like, holy moly. Yeah. They went all out on this. They went full retard. And they're even one of the things is mana for spellcasters. It's probably even more stupid. Damn. I don't know if I don't know what to play, dude. Poison looks insane. Assassin looks insane for racing. Freaking summons look absolutely bonkers. Itemization is just super easy. Ignites are just insane. Fucking mines are ridiculous. You can teleport around with smoke mine and just blast through everything with like a full screen AoE. Everything's bonkers. I don't... Oh god, mana. Alright, let's see. What do we have going on here?
General philosophy is that mana sustain for spellcasters should be something a player has to think about and find some way to manage, similar to accuracy for attack characters. However, we don't want the solution to be a huge investment, and we've tried to provide a few different and interesting ways to sustain mana recovery. Mana flasks have received a major review. Values.
Shut the fuck up, man. Mana flask. Oh no. I mean, I think this is great, honestly. It has been... It's cool that it was so strong because that made it fun, but like, oh, guess I'm playing an Inquisitor, you know, I'm just gonna get Mana Leech on my boots. You know, I'm playing X, just get Mana Leech, oh, just get Warlord's Mark. Like, there was very little thought process behind it, and you had to kind of gear around it the exact same way on every character, so it was boring. Hopefully there's something better going on here, but it's not a fucking Mana Flask. It's not the solution, please.
Including a new enduring modifier that lets the Mana Flask remain after reaching for...
Never mind. Best change ever. Never mind. I take everything back. Mana flasks are the shit, dude. Never mind. Mana flasks, I'm all about it, dude.
Including the new essence extraction notable that grants mana flasks 1 charge every 3 seconds, as well as mana regeneration.
Okay.
increased flask charges gained, and removing one random elemental ailment when you use a mana flask.
Oh.
Clarity has also been changed to grant higher values of mana regeneration at higher gem levels. A variety of new passive tree clusters have been added, including one that improves mana and arcane surge, one that gives curse bonuses and a way to recover mana after hitting or killing cursed enemies, and one that grants spell damage based on your maximum mana up to a limit.
Whoa. Okay, yeah. So max mana, like we thought. Damn.
Multi-strike being cancelable is something we've decided to stick with, to keep melee characters more mobile. Multiplicative attack speed is very dangerous from both clear capacity and performance, so we're reticent to give a single support gem anymore. Pulvery support now provides increased area of effect instead of more area of effect.
What?
The skill provided too much area of effect for heavily invested characters, so we've changed the values to be additive with other area increases. The support now grants more damage than before to make up for the loss of area.
Oh man. Well, I hope you guys had fun with melee. You know, Cyclone was great. Cyclone League is over. You know, I was the Cyclone main, all that good stuff. Time to move on and use the mana flask. I'm sorry, everybody. I mean, it's still fine. The multi-strike change is actually pretty big. The extra range is actually pretty big. Like, these skills are still going to be strong, but yet again, they've kind of... I don't know. I feel like they've made it so that the other stuff is just a lot more intuitive and natural to get together. And melee is just like... get a sword, use X best skill, use Leap Slam. It's gonna feel like the exact same, like the next and next and next best skill. You've played melee now. Time to use a mana flask. Like, I'm really scared that that's how it's gonna feel like.
Tornado Shot has been outperforming other bow attack skills, while also having potent single target damage.
No. What? Only been like that for 4 years. Why change it now?
Other spells. Contagion no longer gains radius as the gem levels. The skill provided too much clearing capacity over a large area at high levels. Body Swap has been significantly reworked. The most notable change is that you can target a living enemy to warp to their location.
Body Swap totems, dude. Let's go. It's my league starter. No problem. ED dead. I mean, I'm kind of happy, to be honest, because obviously the big dilemma with racing 200 is like, you gotta choose the best build, because even if you take a build that's 10% weaker, then you're fucked. And now, yeah, it seems like the meta is pretty fresh. There's a lot of shit that you can come up with that's going to be really powerful. I'm just happy I did all those fucking Ignite builds, so I know how to scale them now. Shit. Oh man, that's a lot. Yeah, I really like the breach stuff. I really like these balance changes. I like the accuracy stuff. Everything here looks good except the Poet's Pen thing. It's gonna be strong. It's just gonna feel like shit. It's gonna feel like shit, man. Overall, I'd say global gem levels yet to see. Kind of difficult to put a finger on it, honestly, but I think it's heading in the right direction if they focused enough on individual gems and modifiers. I think that's pretty big. Traps and mines, amazing. I think they did a fantastic job. I like it a lot. Damage over time, way overkill. Way, like, absolutely fucking, like, retardedly good. Yeah, I don't know. They just, yeah, just insane. Minions, I think they've already changed a lot of the functionality of this sort of stuff. I think that, like, Deathmark and whatnot are not going to be the way we've seen them in the trailers. I think they're enabling a lot of stuff that maybe they shouldn't, but it's still kind of capped by sockets and whatnot, and there's going to be a lot of difficult choices you're going to have to make. So I'd say minions remain the 5-head, you know, the 5-head approach to the game, and I'm cool with that. You know, if it's for extra power, if it requires a little bit more of a thought process and actual gameplay adjustments with being more strategic with your minions and with your skill usage, I'm totally cool with it. I fucking love minions. The more they put work into it, the better. Mana for spellcasters. Yeah, I mean, I talked about that briefly, but the MOM changes and the damage over time changes, I think they did a good job with this as well. The reduced mana I don't really like unless it's super powerful, because it's like it's a mechanic that kind of feels bad until it feels good for a very short amount of time and then feels bad again. It's better if it feels good and then kind of feels bad for a little bit and then feels good again. At least for me. I've seen that work out better. And then, yeah, mana pots. Shit. It might be the first time the mana pots actually work. Melee, trash. I think they have the completely wrong mentality when it comes to modifying these. They should focus on making it fun, making it interesting, and less so on balancing it out with other abilities, because that's just never how it's going to be on top of its game. The reason why Cyclone was where it wasn't just because of its strength. It was because of the amount of fun that it provided in its functionality and all this sort of stuff that just wasn't available through other means. So damage numbers, they look great. I think melee is really strong, but I just think they have the wrong approach when it comes to comparing it to other abilities and how fun it is to build a character like that in general. I'm surprised that they didn't buff up like other things or nerfed swords in general, but I don't know. Maybe the purpose of this is also for people to focus more on bleeds and focus more on poisons than just hitting things in the face. I'm not sure. We're gonna have to wait and see. Ranged, yeah, the ranged, I'm kind of neutral about it, honestly. Tornado's still gonna be strong. I wish they added physical damage to these ones. From the looks of it, they're changing the way chain works, which is always a great thing. If it functions more like Frostblades, that's a really good feeling skill. And it's kind of like the in-between, right? Because you can get it with chain and you can get it by itself. And I would imagine the functionality is similar in that way, where it just like cascades through the pack outwards rather than clumps up in the way it targets. And then yeah, the passive tree changes. I think it's maybe too complex to give like a definitive opinion on. I like the mana flask stuff for sure. I like the mana stuff in general. Extra clusters I'm always a big fan of. This ended up being a good change. I initially thought that it's just going to be a big nerf, but it doesn't seem to be a big nerf. It just seems to be maybe a slight nerf for the things that didn't really require a whole lot of power in the first place, and just opening up possibilities and opportunities for other underpowered playstyles to be powerful now, or well, slightly more powerful. And then yeah, Raider needs its time. Elementalist kind of goes against their ideology, but I think they're heading in the right direction. Although I'd still like to see for Elementalist to like prioritize Ignite stuff, but I get it that they don't want Elementalist to be the Ignite thing, right? The Hierophant seems like it's going to be very powerful. Like, it's already, you can build it in such various ways where it's super powerful, you know? Especially with an MOM buff, you can possibly build characters with 70% MOM, and that's just bonkers with the Timeless Jewels. Necromancer's good, a little bit overly defensive, but I get it. They're trying to allow other classes to do summoning stuff as well, and that's cool. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of Ascendant stuff, and I was always a big fan of like Ascendant Summoner builds. It's just that they haven't been viable for a very long time. Yeah, Occultist, I think the change is insignificant, but I think Occultist is still super powerful and really underrated. The Chieftain change is really good, but you're gonna have to use powerful skills to be able to play Ignite builds with Chieftain. Like, you won't be able to just slap any random skill like you're gonna be able to do with either Scion or Inquisitor. I think it just the position of the skill tree limits it a little bit too much in that aspect, but maybe with enough gear investment. Berserker and Slayer changes I just disagree with. It's just wrong. It's just bad. And then Trickster, I don't really know. Ascendant is good. Veiled Modifier is good, but not enough. Still needs more work. And the other changes was, yeah. How dare you do this to my Poet's Pen? And pretty much everything else is great. The accuracy change is great. The HP values is great. The breach changes are great. And yeah, that's kind of like my overall TLDR of these. We have yet to see the patch notes. It's in like a while, but.